hand tool number 2. Hand tool number 2 study guide is what we're going over here today. We're going to start out with aviation snips. So your aviation snips come in 3 different colored handles. Primary purpose is for cutting sheet metal or thin metal, some type of gauge metal. Your yellow handle, that tells you the type of cut it is for a neutral straight cut. Next color is green. Pay attention to the top shear, turns to the right. It's for cutting to the right or right arcs or right turns. Red handle, it's again, pay attention to the top shear, turns to the left for cutting a left turn or a left to the left. Those are our 3 different colored of aviation snips, once again used for cutting gauge metal, sheet metal, thin metal by hand. Next item on the list is one of our planes. This is a hand plane, okay? Could take the place of the joiner. This is used by hand, obviously. It's a hand tool. We're going to use this to remove a small amount of material from the edge or surface of the board. Okay, so you could surface plane or edge joint or edge plane the board. We are never using it across the end of the board. That'd be a cross grain cut. It's only with the grain on the edge or the surface. That's our hand plane. Removing a small amount of material from the edge or the surface of the board. Next item is the block plane. Similar to the hand plane, but where the hand plane was used on the surface and the edge of the board, we're going to be using the block plane to remove a small amount of material from the end grain of the board. It's going to have the bevel up in the cutting knife to remove a small amount of material from the end grain. So once again, the difference between the block plane and the hand plane. Hand plane is surface and edge. Block plane can be used on the end grain. Next item is a spoke shave. It's again used to basically round a square piece or a square stock into a spoke shape, similar to like in a wagon wheel. It's going to be used on the edge of the board and on the surface of the board. Once again, generally a square stock that you're creating a dowel or rounding it to a cylinder. Next item on the list is your pop rivet gun. Pop rivet gun here looks like this. You will essentially insert a pop rivet into the nipple on the pop rivet gun. You will then force it into between 2 pieces of thin metal and pump the trigger until it joins those 2 thin pieces of material. Primary purpose of the pop rivet gun is to join thin pieces of material. Next item on the list is our standard or flat screwdriver. There's a series of them in the cabinet. Again, standard or flat-headed screwdriver used for turning or tightening slotted screws. Next item is our Phillips screwdriver. Once again, there's a series of them in different sizes in the tool cabinet, used for tightening and loosening Phillips head screws. Next device is this right here. Looks very similar to a compass. However, it only has points on both ends. You can squeeze this together and loosen this in and out to change the distance between each tip. It is used for transferring distances. So if I had a line on this board and I needed to transfer distances, I could set this to whatever that distance is and then walk it across to create even distances upon that line. Transferring distances divider. Next item is an inside caliper. Inside caliper, as you can see, the ends of the legs of the caliper turn outward. That's to transfer inside diameters. So if you're going to inside of a cylinder or inside of a bowl on the lathe, you would set this once again, same as the divider, but now it turns out so that we can check inside diameters on different cylindrical pieces. Very similar to the inside caliper, which we just referenced, is the outside caliper. The outside caliper is used for transferring outside diameters. Once again, most commonly used on the lathe because you are changing diameters on the lathe and making something, turning something around. Outside caliper used for transferring outside diameters. Next item, our next hand tool is a cabinet scraper. It does basically what it's explained to do. It's used to scrape excess material, generally glue, off the outside of cabinets. When gluing them up, can be used as just a scraper, scraping paint off the surfaces, those types of things. But primarily in here, we use it to remove excess glue as a cabinet scraper. Lastly is the level. This is to check to see if something is level. It does not make anything level. It does not make anything plumb. But you are going to set this on an item. If the bubble is in between the two lines on the tool, it is level. If I want to check to see if something is plumb, I'm going to turn it vertical and check the top horizontal bubble. And once again, that's going to tell me if it's plumb with the floor, if it's setting perpendicular to the floor. So I can check to see if something is plumb or level. Once again, it's not going to make it that. It is checking to see if it is already in that position. These come in various sizes. This is a 2-foot level or 24-inch level. They come in various measurements. You can get smaller ones, or they go up in 2-foot intervals, 4-foot, 6-foot, 8-foot levels, so on and so forth. And they go down in feet measurements from here. So 12-inch level or 6-inch level. You can get various sizes of levels. All right, so here's the assignment for this. Hand tool number 2. Basically, you're going to come in, you're going to name in each of the spots where it says name. You'll be able to open up the PowerPoint. You'll go, it's actually a Google slide. You'll be able to open up the Google slide, go directly in there, label the name of the tool as I've just directed you of what it is, and then you're also going to state the purpose for which it's used for. You should be able to just type directly into that Google slide and then submit that Google slide when complete.